Okay, let's look at the remaining questions on the kit. Let's look at the question. Brick by brick is building business. You can look at the requirement as well. Remember, always look at the requirement of the question first. But because there are many requirements, I will look at the question first, then look at the requirement, and then look at the question back. So it is okay to read it 2 times. Brick by Brick is a building business that provides a range of building services to public. Recently, it has been asked to quote for garage conversion, GC, and extensions to properties EX, and has found that it is winning fewer GC contracts than expected. In addition, BB also produces and sells different types of bricks to the construction industry. The 3 types of brick produced are clay, concrete, and reclaimed bricks. BBB has a policy to price all jobs at budgeted total cost plus 50% overheads are currently absorbed at a labor cost. BBB thinks that a switch to activity-based costing to absorb overheads would reduce the cost associated with GC and hence make them more competitive. You are provided with the following data: overhead category, annual overheads, and then activity drivers. What you could also do, if I'm going a little bit faster, you could pause the video, you could read the question in details and understand it, and then continue. A typical GC takes 300 labor hours to complete. A GC requires only 1 site visit by supervisor and only 1 planning document to be raised. An EX requires 6 site visits and 5 planning documents. What are the total overheads assigned to GC using labor hours to absorb the overheads? Okay, so if we use labor hours, what will be the overheads that will be assigned to GC? So I don't think I need to read it again. Okay, I will take the total cost divided by labor hours. Total labor hours are given here, 40,000. So if we take 400,000 divided by labor hours, it will give us 10 per hour. And we have how many hours taken by GC? Okay, a typical GC takes 300 hours to complete. So 300 hours multiplied by 10, there will be 3,000 cost if we are using absorption costing. What are the total overheads assigned to GC using ABC principle in respect of supervisory cost, ABC? Okay, supervisory costs would relate to site visits, obviously. Sometimes they are told, sometimes they are very clear. Remember, it relates to 62 all the way to 3, 4, 5, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66. Okay, 90,000 divided by 500 will give us cost per visit. And GC requires only 1 site visit. If it requires 1 site visit, then it is 180. You could just multiply it by 1 if you want. What are the total overheads assigned to an EX using ABC principle in respect of planning cost? Planner would be planning documents. So 70,000 divided by 250 becomes 280. And then 280, how many documents are required? Needs 1 planning document to be raised. If it only needs 1 planning document, did I hear it right? Okay, a typical GC takes 3 hours to complete. A GC requires, okay, they are talking about EX. I was focusing on GC. An EX requires 6 site visits and 5 documents. So multiply by 5 becomes 1400. The absorption cost and ABC cost per service have not been correctly calculated as follows. They said, let's assume these are the cost using absorption and using ABC. Are the following statements true or false? You can see this one is lower according to ABC, and this one is lower according to absorption costing. Changing to a system of ABC costing would lead to more competitive price being charged for GC. Remember, competitive price means cheaper price. It might give you a lot of information about competitive, but it simply means cheaper. So does ABC give us cheaper price for GC? Yes, true. Next, using ABC would cause the total overhead cost to increase. False. Remember, the total costs don't change whether you're using ABC costing or whether you're using absorption costing. It is the way that they are divided into units that changes. Okay, next. So the first one is true, second one false. Which of the following statements about brick by brick and use of ABC is true? The traditional absorption costing approach gives better indication of where cost savings can be made. ABC is cheaper system for BBB than absorption. ABC eliminates the need for cost apportionment. ABC improves pricing decision. D would be correct, because if you have a better cost, then you will have a better price. So your pricing decision will reflect very accurately the cost that you're incurring. It doesn't eliminate cost apportionment because they are done in ABC costing as well. If we have common costs used by different systems, ABC is not cheaper than absorption costing, and traditional doesn't give better indication. Let's look at next one. Okay, this also relates to ABC and absorption, so I will skip it. I'll go to another question. What is the profit per day if daily output achieved is 6,000 units of X, 4,500 units of Y, and 1,200 units of Z? Kerry produces 3 products, X, Y, and Z. The capacity of Kerry's management is restricted. The Kerry's plant is restricted by the process alpha. Process alpha is restricted to be operational for 8 hours per day and can produce 1,200 units of X per hour, 1,500 units of Y per hour, 600 units of Z per hour. Selling prices and material costs for each product are as follows. So the data is given here. Conversion cost 720,000 per day. So directly jump to the question, what is the profit per day if daily output achieved is 6,000 units of X, 4,500 units of Y, and 1,200 units of Z? Let's go to another page. Okay, this relates to 72 to 76. What is the profit per day if we produce 6,000 units of X, 4,500 units of Y, 1,200 units of Z? Okay, the profit would be let's find contribution, which is 15 minus 70, 120 minus 40, 300 minus 100. So we have 200. It was actually given here. Multiply by 80. Multiply by 80. Multiply by 200. So it gives us total throughput, which is 480,000 plus 360,000 plus 240,000. This is our total throughput if our conversion costs are, remember, conversion means labor plus overheads. It is the cost of converting material from one type to another. So we will have a profit of 360,000. Next, what is the efficiency of the bottleneck process? What is the efficiency of the bottleneck process given the output achieved is 6,000 units of Y, 4,500 units of Y, X, 6,000 units of X, 4,500 units of Y, 1,200 units of Z. What would be its efficiency? Okay, the normal efficiency is, remember this efficiency ratio you studied in F2 in accounting for labor chapter. So it is the time required versus time taken. So what is the efficiency of the bottleneck given the output achieved is 1,000 units of 6,000 units of X, 4,500 units of Y, 1,200 units of Z. Okay, Rex, the carries produces 3 products X, Y, Z. The capacity of carries plant is restricted by process alpha. Alpha is expected to be operational for 8 hours per day. They didn't say here whether it is per day or per hour or whatever, but I will assume it is per day. So it is available 8 hours and can produce 1,200 units of X, 1,500 units of Y, and 600 units of Z. They are per hour. Okay, so they should be able to produce 9,600 units of these. Sorry. Remember, if they work alone per unit, if they work on a particular unit, this is how much it will produce. So what I will do, I will just look at the output, which is 6,000 units and 4,500 units and 1,200 units. Remember, all 3 units cannot be produced at the same time, I assume. But information is not very clear here. But I will assume that they are produced separately. So if 6,000 units of X are produced, how much time should it take? Divided by 1,200, it should give us about 5 hours. If 1,200 units, if 4,500 units are produced of Y, dividing by 1,500, it should give us about 3 hours. And if 1,200 units are produced, divided by 600 units, should give us about 2 hours. So it should have taken 5 plus 3 plus 2, which is 10 hours, but it has taken 8 hours. 10 divided by 8 multiplied by 100 is about 125%. Remember, if the time taken is less, our efficiency should be more. Our answer should be more than 100. Remember, you don't have to memorize these formulas. You just have to understand the meaning of these formulas. Efficiency is the speed at which we are working. If we are working faster, our answer should be more than 100. So here we have worked faster because we have produced something that should be done in 10 hours, but we did it in 8 hours. Okay, let's continue. What are the conversion costs per factory hour? So if total cost is 720,000 and we have total hours of 8 per day, that should be 90,000 conversion costs per hour. A change in factory cost arose, giving a new figure for conversion cost per factory hour of 80,000. What is the revised throughput accounting ratio for each product? Revised. They didn't say existing. Revise. So we don't have to find the existing. They said revise, so we will just take the throughput, which is 80. Remember, this is per unit, but how many units can we produce an hour? 1200 units. So we have 96,000 per hour. 1500, so we have 120,000 per hour, and 600, we have 120,000 per hour as well. So 96,000 divided by 80,000, 120,000 divided by 80,000, and 120,000 divided by 80,000. So we have throughput accounting ratio of 1.20, 1.50, and 1.50. Which two of the following statements about using TA ratio are true? Corico's priority using TA should be given to produce to products with the highest throughput contribution per unit. TA assumes that labor costs are largely fixed. TA ratio for each product should be less than 1. TA assumes that material costs can be controlled in short term. Okay, there are two ways of answering these type of questions. One you could do is select the right answers, and another way is you could select the right, you could remove the wrong answers. Then you will be left with the right answer, or you could just directly select the right answer. But I can clearly see an answer that is wrong. That is, TA ratio for each product should be less than 1. Remember, we studied that it should be more than 1. So we are left with A, B, and C. Remember, TA assumed that labor costs are fixed. We assumed that labor costs are fixed. The only costs that are changeable are the material cost. So they are the cost that can be controlled. So that means B is D is correct. And then Corey's priority using TA should be given to products with highest throughput per unit. No, it is throughput per limiting factor. It's not per unit. Like we did here. We had a throughput of 96,000, 80 and 200. And if you look at the priority, this is only 80 and this is 200. But if you look at the priority here, they will be given same priority. Okay, continuing. Let's see, what type of question is it? Okay, this also relates to throughput, so I've already done this one, so I'll leave it for you guys. Let's look at this one. Okay. Camco manufactures webcam devices which can provide live video in audio streams via personal computer. Has recently been suffering from liquidity problems and hopes that these will be eased by launch of his new webcam, which has revolutionary audio and video quality. The webcam is expected to have a product life cycle of 2 years. Market research has already been carried out to establish a target selling price and projected lifetime sales volume for the product. Cost estimates have also been prepared based on the current proposed product specification. Camco uses lifecycle costing to work out the target cost for its products. You are provided with the following relevant information for the webcam. Projected lifetime sales revenue, 50,000, sales price 200, and margin 35%. And then you have been given cost, and then non-manufacturing costs and stuff. The following information has been identified as relevant. Direct material cost. All of the parts currently proposed for a webcam are bespoke parts. Remember, bespoke means tailor-made, specifically designed. However, most of these can actually be replaced with standard parts using 55% less. However, 3 of the bespoke parts, which currently account for 20% of estimated direct labor costs, cannot be replaced. Although alternative supplier charging 10% less has been sourced for these products. Direct labor cost. The webcam uses 45 minutes of direct labor, which costs 34.67 per hour. The use of more standard parts, however, will mean that while the first unit would still be expected to take 45 minutes, there will now be expected rate of learning of 90%, where B equals minus 0.152. This will end after the first 100 units have been completed. You will not be able to answer this part because this relates to learning curve. We haven't studied learning curve. Learning curve is in next section. I do that after variance analysis. So once you have done learning curve topic, then you can come back to this question and answer it. I will not answer this part for now. Okay, so first question, what is the target cost of the new webcam? This relates to 82 all the way to 86. Okay, target cost is the target selling price minus the target profit, which is 200 deducting 25%. So what you could do is take 200 directly multiply by the 100% minus 35% would be 65%, which would be 130. Next, what is the direct material cost per unit in light of the new information? Okay, in light of the new information, our current material cost is 40. In light of the new information, the direct material cost, all of the parts currently proposed for the webcam are bespoke parts. However, most of these can actually be replaced with standard parts costing 55% less. However, 3 of the bespoke parts, which currently account for 20% of this estimated direct material cost, cannot be replaced, although an alternative supplier charging 10% less has been sourced for these parts. Okay, so we have 40 price, 80% cannot be changed, can be changed, 20% cannot. So multiply by 80%. For 80%, we can have 55% less. 55% less would be 45%. So 80% of the 40 can be bought at 45% price, which would give us 14.4. And the remaining 20% cannot be replaced, but there is another supplier that gives us 10% less. That means it will cost 7.20. So 14.4 plus 7.20 will become 21.60, the new price, the new cost. Okay, this is relating to the learning curve labor, so I will leave it. Are the following statements about Camco's target costing system true or false? Target costing ensures that new product development costs are received in the target price for webcam. A cost gap is the difference between the target price and the target cost of the webcam. Remember, cost gap is the difference between estimated cost, minus target cost. And the second one, the target cost, so this one is false. Target cost ensures that new product development costs are covered in the target price for the webcam. Development costs would have already been incurred by us, so it is not something that we will include in our target price. And it is not assumed that they will cover it as well, even if we include it. So it depends on having a right estimate of the total number of quantities. So it is not 100% that those costs will be covered. So this is also false. Which of the following in the drop-down list represents a possible method for closing the target cost gap for webcam? Remember, closing cost gap means reducing the estimated cost. Increasing the selling price, remember, we shouldn't increase selling price, danger point. Employ more specialist staff in the production. If we employ more specialist staff, the salary will increase. Redesign the webcam, maybe. Increase number of bespoke components. No, increase number of standard components, not bespoke. So redesign the webcam, maybe make it simpler. So yeah, this one is correct. Okay, let's see what is next question. This also relates to throughput. I will see if it is difficult, I will answer it, otherwise I will leave it. I will skim it. No, it's simple, you could answer it. Okay, let's look at life cycle costing. We hadn't worked on life cycle costing question. Okay, let's see. Our Iveco is an electronics business operating within an advanced manufacturing technology environment, producing fitness watches, weighing scales, and other electronic items. It uses life cycle costing. Iveco is about to launch a new electronic gadget called DIOM for measuring health statistics in patients who are unwell. It intends to sell the gadget to hospitals with number of DIOMs and then components per unit, and then labor costs, and then fixed costs, production costs, selling and distribution costs. Iveco is thinking of developing a smart weighing scale that scans food labels and give nutrients based on the weight. So what is the life cycle cost per unit for DIOM to 2 decimal places? Okay, well, we will look at the cost over an entire life. So the total cost, we don't have to find total, they're already total, but per unit we have to multiply by units. They give us total. So we have 12 plus 14. Remember, don't do them separately, just take per year variable costs and multiply by units. So we have 130,000, and then 10 plus 12 multiply by 7,500 becomes 165,000. So now let's add all the costs. 130,000, 165,000, and then this one becomes about 9,500, and these two becomes about 2,200, which becomes 306,000. 306,000 divided by total units produced over entire life is 5,000 plus 7,500, which will become 24.53. If we round it off, it becomes 54. They set up to 2 decimal places, so you have to round off. It becomes 24.54. Next, which of the following costs would be included in the life cycle cost of smart weighing scales? Scale concept design cost, scale testing costs, production cost, distribution cost, all of them are included. Whenever there is life cycle costing, almost all of the costs are included in life cycle costing, from the development all the way to the withdrawal and everything. Which two of the following statements about using LCC for DM are true. Remember, LCC means life cycle costing. LCC aims to ensure that a profit is generated over the entire life of the DM. LCC focuses on short term by identifying costs at the beginning of the DM's life cycle. LCC writes off costs to each stage of the DM's life cycle. LCC ensures that the price set for the DM is based on better knowledge of the costs. Okay, the first one. LCC aims to ensure that profit is generated over the entire life of the DM. Yes, this is true about life cycle costing. We are not worried about profit per unit or per year. We are looking at the profit over entire life. So first one is true. LCC focuses on short term. No, it doesn't focus on short term. The whole purpose of life cycle costing is long termism. LCC focuses on short term by identifying costs at the beginning of the DM. No, this is wrong. LCC writes off cost to each stage of the DM life cycle. No, we add all the cost, we add it together, and we divide it by the total number of units. LCC ensures that prices are set for DM as based on better knowledge. Yes, we are looking at the cost of the entire life, so it will be a more better cost. Are the following statements true or false? Iveco uses an expensive costing system. Iveco's costing system is quicker to use than traditional absorption costing. Iveco uses expensive costing system. Statement is true because getting all the information for the life cycle of the product will be very difficult job, so it will cost money. So it is expensive system. And Iveco's system is quicker to use than absorption costing. No, it is difficult. It's not easier than absorption costing. Because getting all the information and then dividing it, it seems easier in question, but practically it is very difficult. When would the bulk of Iveco's products lifecycle costing normally be determined? At the design and development stage. So when will we know about all the costs? At the design and development stage, on disposal of the products, when the product is introduced to the market, when the product is in its growth stage. At the design and development stage, remember, this is the whole purpose of life cycle costing, that we need to know about the cost at the development and design stage so we can make a better decision. Okay, this relates to other section. So this is it for kit questions on this section.